Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing today? It's Friday! Yeah! What are you? Are you broken? No, you're garbage. Sweet. How's everyone doing today? It is Friday. Shorter stream today. Just because scheduling, little guy's got a PA day. Only gonna be about a 2-hour stream today. So we've got a few little things to print. We're gonna hang out for a bit, chat, talk about things, and then that's about it. So how's everyone doing? Happy Friday from Calgary. Good morning. Had a little bit of a frosty morning here. A little bit of snow, a little bit of frost, a little chilly. Is what it is. What? If chilly is being cold, like if somebody says it's chilly out, it's cold. So then why do they call chilies the vegetable? Why are chilies hot? Shouldn't they be hotties? Because they're not chili. Which came first? Chili the temperature or chili the fruit? Or is it a vegetable? It's a vegetable. I don't know. Anyways, hey, guess what? Do you like filament? I like filament. I use it for my job and my printers. If you want to win some from Polymaker, link in the description. We give away a spool every stream. And if you just want to buy some, because you need more than one spool, and you know, you got a right now 1 in 121 chance of winning one. There's also affiliate links down there. Go a long way in supporting the channel. Don't cost you anything extra. It's been almost a year. Have you gotten used to not having a regular? I do somewhat have a regular work week. That's why I kind of stick to the streaming schedule, because that's kind of how I know the days of the week. Is it a Friday stream? Okay, we're Friday. And yes, I know it's about a year. Peppers are fruit. I could have sworn they were a vegetable. What's the difference between the two? I thought like vegetables grew on the ground and fruit grew on trees or something like that. If I turn the AC down, am I increasing or decreasing the temperature? You are not directly impacting the temperature. It depends on the environment. If it's winter and I turn my AC down, the AC going down isn't turning the temperature of my house down to a degree, because it can only dump heat to a certain degree. Like if you turn your AC on in the winter, you'll freeze it up. It won't work. Fruits have seeds in them. Is that how it works? Vegetables don't have seeds in them? Carrots have seeds in them, don't they? So. Anyways, it's a big brain stream. Big brain stream. How's everyone doing today? Okay, so it is Friday. We have some things to print. So, 2 things. One, I got to get some drone frames going here. Which my computer rebooted, so I'm going to have to reslice all these. Shoot. Hopefully I remember the settings. And so I got to get some drone frames. So hopefully it might be this weekend's video, or maybe next week, or not like tomorrow's video. Tomorrow's video is already done and edited. If you're a member of the channel or a Patreon supporter, go check out the super secret Only Benchies Yacht Club channel. Tomorrow's video is already up there for you. I'll be putting it out on the Patreon page and the YouTube community page for members after the stream ends. I still got to make a thumbnail for it and do a few things, but the video itself is done. But we're working on printed. Wait, camera, are you? Deactivate? Activate. No, wrong camera. Overhead. Where is overhead? Desk view camera. Deactivate. Activate. Hello? You're on. Is it you? Okay, not that one. Connected to 4K compatible TV. Okay, deactivate, activate. There we go. Okay, There we go. Okay, so I'm printing drone frames here out of different plastics, thanks to Polymaker for sponsoring that upcoming video. So I've got PLA, I've got lightweight PLA, which is actually surprisingly light, but oh, you get the fuzzy wuzzies. All the fuzzy wuzzies. Also, I don't have my overlays on. Oh, shoot. You could tell I was recording a video. Let me get the music going. Overlay there, overlay there. No overlay, media, no overlay. Main overlay. Does this have an overlay? Overlay. That's it, that's good. Does this have an overlay? There we go, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay, let me pull chat into my normal thing. There we go. No music, please. I like music though. And the majority of my audience does, so we go with music. So there we go. Lightweight PLA is kind of weird. You get different densities depending on print temperature. Yeah, it's kind of funky to play with, and for this application, I don't have high hopes, but we'll see. That's another thing I got to figure out. So what do I still have to print? I have, let's do PC. We'll do PC, polycarbonate. I need to figure out a way of testing these drone frames that's somewhat repeatable and would give real world results for like what actually makes sense for testing these drone frames. So I kind of know what plastic I think is probably going to be the best out of the gate. Not PETG, but these are quadcopter frames, so they have to be able to steel with a little bit of temperature. But you know, it's a quadcopter, so it's got 4 fans cooling it off while you're flying. So as long as your motors aren't too hot, you should be okay. And they need to be crash resistant, but they also need to be stiff, because if they're not stiff, you get vibrations. And if you get vibrations, it's not good for a first-person quadcopter. Polypro is the best. Polypro is a pain to find. Like, no, who cares? Well, for one, the video is sponsored by Polymaker, and I don't think they carry Polypro. I didn't see any when I looked. So that kind of rules that one out. I gotta heat you up because I gotta purge filament. How hot do you print Polypro at, or PC? 250 to 270, embed 109, 105, okay. Drone launcher. So what I was thinking is, for a stiffness, I print like a jig that holds them by their wings or by the tips. So I basically have a jig that holds them like this. Okay. Wow. So it basically holds them by the tips, and then I put like a preload in the middle, like a known weight, and I measure how much it deflects down, and that would tell me whichever one's the stiffest, basically. But then we also need to figure out how they affect at temperature, so I could put it in my dehydrator and set it to like 60 degrees and see how much they go. And then crash resistance. That's the one I'm kind of like, how do I test that? And I'm like, I could just, you know, throw them at a wall and see which one lasts the longest, because that's the problem with FPV crashes. They're not always the same. You're crashing in all kinds of different ways. You'd be surprised the number of ways you can crash an FPV quadcopter. So it's like, yeah, I can, you know, build a jig that drops them on the same arm at the same angle at the same speed all the time. But if that's just, you know, one test. Oh, I tried to heat the bed up to 250. No wonder why it didn't go. I don't think the bed will do 250. Lee Smith, thank you for coming a member. The thing is, that printer has 50 millimeters less volume than this one on the XYZ. Mic is peaking really bad. Is it peaking? In peaking? Properties? Do I have a compressor on it? 1 second here. Filters. Compressor. Compressor's on. Let me drop down. There we go. I'll just drop it down a bit. No peaking. Mic is fine as always. Okay. Cool. I'll go back to normal. Audio is a pain because it really depends on your setup. I found I edit all my videos wearing headphones, and apparently, like, because I output everything in like mono or stereo, some people are like, oh, on my 7.1 surround sound setup, it doesn't sound good. I'm like, so. Have you changed any of my printers over to CAN? I have not. I've built a printer with CAN. The Salad Fork build has CAN bus. And I'm of the kind of personal opinion, I'm not super sold on it, especially with Clipper. And it's not so much CAN bus itself, it is the boards. I'm not happy with the quality of a lot of the boards out there. I've only used the Big Tree Tech ones. And put it this way, their second version of the board could burn your house down if you put it in DFU mode and left it, because it would turn the heater on. That was the 1.1 version. The 1.2 version's fixed. But like if you bought a 1.1 from a reseller and you didn't know about that, that's a thing. So like I'm not super sold on it yet. I still think a lot of because it's the boards. The boards all need their own firmware. They all have their own instructions for setting up. It's what you save in wiring simplicity, you lose in firmware shenanigans, which are a pain in the butt, let's be honest. Okay. So I don't know. It depends on the board you're using, I guess. Like I know Duet's CAN implementation is pretty solid, but Duet has the advantage of a closed ecosystem where they have full control over everything. So they can kind of do what they want to do. Whereas Clipper, we're kind of at the mercy of whatever Big Tree Tech pops out that day. And will probably depreciate and come out with a new revision 6 months later. So, Beachy was still selling the EBB 36V 1.1 on Amazon in Germany. Yep, and that's the board that will burn your house down. And there's somebody's Voron caught fire because of that board. Because you know that scenario where like you're doing something and then I say your mom called to bring out the garbage and you forgot about it? That's exactly what happened to them. They were flashing it. They wired up their whole printer. They're in the process of flashing it, so they put it into DFU mode, and that board, when you put it in DFU mode, turns on the hot end pin. It just does. So what ended up happening was they got distracted. Their like kid wanted something, or their wife. I can't remember what it exactly was, but they left the room, and then they just kind of forgot about it for a minute until the smoke alarm went off. And they came back and their gantry was on fire. Luckily, it didn't spread outside the printer, but that happened. And then you could say, well, it was his own fault for leaving it alone. And, you know, to be fair, true. But my stove doesn't burn the house down if I'm not sitting in my kitchen for all 3 hours of cooking a roast, watching it. And if somebody sold a stove that, you know, if you didn't sit there and watch it all the time, because it could catch fire, like that would not sell. That would be a safety issue. But you know, 3D printers, we allow that stuff. So yeah, I'm not happy with Big Tree Tech and CAN bus at the moment, just because of their implementations of stuff. So is what it is. PXN gifted 5 community memberships. Cheers. The 1.2 board is fixed, apparently. The 1.2 board doesn't have that issue. Okay, so this is our frame. So I'm not getting fancy in designing my own frame. I'm using the Nano long range frame. And all I'm doing, I'm printing it basically at my normal Voron settings, but 20% infill gyroid. Other than that, I'm printing it at normal Voron settings, so it's actually heavier than it needs to be, but I'd rather it be a little, I have to make up for the fact that I'm not using the battery mount. So I figured go a little beefier on the frame, because the way these are designed, these are called nano long ranges. So it's a quadcopter meant to fly long range, but it uses an 18650 battery. It doesn't use a LiPo. So normal quadcopters, they use LiPos, right? Lithium polymer batteries. So it's designed for an 18650, which doesn't have the punch that a LiPo has, but it's got a fat tank, right? So you're supposed to put a battery holder on it, put an 18650, and you can fly it for like 10 minutes. And it flies like a slow bus, but it flies for 10 minutes. So what we're doing is the controller board I'm using is 2S compatible. So it can use a 2-cell battery. So instead of 3.7 volt nominal, it can use 7.4 volt. Bigger number, more power. So the plan is, instead of using those, instead of using an 18650, I've got these 660 milliwatt hour or milliamp hour 2S batteries that are going to sit on top, and that's going to power it. So that's one, will put more stress on the printed frame and give us more performance out of it at the cost of a shorter flight time. And I've already got a long range. I've got this guy that'll fly for 10 minutes out 5 kilometers. So I've got a long range quadcopter. So I'd rather have something that can cruise a little bit better, and will give us a better data point because we'll be stressing the frame more. So that's kind of the point of this. I just hope the controller is rated for 2S. It's Happy Model though, and for those that fly FPV, you know how Happy Model is. So we'll see. We'll see. So, have you milled anything lately? Not since the frame, not since the Voron frame, or the motor mounts. Or actually, I can change this now. Set 250. I think I can put 250 by 250 now. Because I got the whole bed now. There we go. I know I could fit 3 on the bed. I fit 3 on the bed before. There we go. That works. Okay. PC. It's been a hot minute since I printed polycarbonate. I've got a PCCF profile. Okay, 2.4. Transfer, cool. Okay, so 20% infill, cubic, cool. 4 top, 4 bottom, 5 or 5 top, 5 bottom, 4 wall. PC, I'm not printing that hot. I think the Polymaker stuff, what do they say? 270 max. I'm printing pretty much everything at the max temp for strength. Extrusion multiplier 1. And I don't think I got any cooling. Yeah, I got like no cooling. Okay, cool. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Oh, I gotta turn the brim off. Skirt and brim. None. Oh, when I got support, turn off support. None. Will I build a VZ bot? If a kit shows up, I would build one. That's pretty much my stance on it. I have no problem building one. I'd be interested in building one, but I would need Like I would need a kit. I'm not going to self-source one. And unfortunately, right now, because the channel is my job, basically any builds that I do on the channel, like kit builds, have to be able to be justified. And the purchase cost of a kit versus what I would kind of get in ad revenue and whatnot it would affect the balance sheet a bit for a kit that expensive. Like I got no problem. Like I bought, you know, I buy stuff for the channel. Don't get me wrong. I've bought printers and whatnot for the channel over the years. But if I was gonna do the VZ bot, it would be the machined one with the metal parts. It would be all out. So that would be a little pricey, unfortunately. Okay, upload and print. Why are you printing so many frames? So the plan is print 3 frames out of the different filaments I'm using. That way we could do some destructive testing. So I have 3 frames I could destroy in testing, and then whatever one's the best frame or whatever material's the best, then we print a few frames using different settings, and then we go and fly the best one of that. Which clipper? Mainsail, and that's this machine right there. I might switch this one over to mainsail because this is fluid right now. So this is fluid. I might switch this over to mainsail because pretty much all my other machines are on mainsail now. So I only showed you 6, but it's only 2 plastics. I still have polycarbonate, PCCF, and I'm going to print one out of PETG just to show you how bad it is. So I've got PLA, lightweight PLA, polycarbonate, PCCF, or PACF, nylon or carbon fiber nylon. So it's those 4. ABS, there's really no point. ABS isn't stiff enough. That's why PETG is a no-go. Basically, you need stiff. There's a reason you build these frames out of carbon fiber, because, you know, you drop them and you break stuff and like you crash them into the ground at 100 miles an hour. There's a reason they use carbon fiber for the frames on these, and you don't really see a lot of printed frames outside of a few niche hobby style builds. But people have been asking me, people have been asking me to try a printed frame for a while, so I'm like, you know what? I'll do it, because people have been asking me to try one for a bit. So ask and ye shall receive. PLA carbon fiber. I don't think I have PLA CF. I legit don't think I have PLA CF. The problem is with PLA, I'm thinking PLA might be okay, but the issue I'm worried about is because I'm running everything at 2S, which is higher current, I'm worried the motor mounts might melt. So. PCTPC? No, I have not. I'm only using standard filaments. I don't want to use anything too funky. Like, let's be real here. I have a spool of Ultim in the drawer that I could dig out and spend a week trying to print one frame out of that'll crush all these frames. But if I want it to be like really technical and totally like get the best out of it, I mean, I would just use a machine carbon fiber frame that's lighter than anything I can print and stronger than anything I can print and cheaper than anything I can print. So TPU just for giggles. Speaking of TPU, who's going to Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Fest? If you're going to Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Fest, there's going to be a special vor on there for you. Okay, so that's heating up. So now I need to get a print out of this because I got to rip this apart. So this right here is also the subject of tomorrow's video, but you don't need to worry about that right now. This is my Voron 1.0. I need to do a benchmark print on this because we need to get a print out of here so that I can take it apart and do upgrades and compare. So I need to figure out what we can do as a benchmark on this thing. But before I do that, I have to level my bed, because my bed, you want to know how strong these are? Apparently a 36-pound kid could stand on the bed of them. Ask how I found that out. I'm missing all the chat warnings. What chat warnings? Oh, the extrusion multiplier is at 0.10? What? Oh. Oh, that would have been bad. You gotta at me. Yeah, you gotta at me. Oh, no, you did. We're adding me. Oh, well, I saw we. 36. Well, hey, we would have saved a lot of filament. There we go. Notice me, senpai. I notice you. Why? Okay, mini-me. Glass filled is more of a pain to work with. You don't get a cool surface look as well. I've got glass fill. I printed with glass fill. Glass fill absolutely will wreck anything it comes in contact with. So I hope you're using hardened extruder gears, and I hope the throat on your heat break isn't thin. Glass filled will shred whatever it comes in contact with. I think it's even worse than carbon fiber, honestly. Like it's horrible. It is super abrasive. Yeah, and guess who's eyeballing this? What, you don't eyeball your bed level? Get that in the hole. I've got a bed mesh. I just got to sort out the bed level. Get it kind of. Get it kind of eyeballed and flat, and then I'll let the bed mesh deal with the rest. There we go. Okay. Do you see the latest 3D print? I know CFPTG would be blue. He put out a video with carbon fiber PETG? What was Joel up to? Matt, $2. Cheers. Oh, okay. If he put it out today, I didn't see it. Okay. For the next like little minute here while I get this set up, just watch Joel. Joel's in charge.
320 on X, 132 on Y, 154 or Z. It'll print Markforged materials, and it'll also lay in the strand fibers that Markforged sells. Now, what do we need? I need a...
Okay, so he's printing stuff for his scooters and whatnot. Okay, so it can do carbon fiber because it's inlaying.
We have to remember, as makers, we have access to services that provide parts.
There you go. Yeah, so that makes sense. Okay, because he's the material, the printer lays down carbon fiber, like a strand of it, inside the part as it's printing. So you can use colored filament, essentially. I saw these machines at Rapid TCT last year, and they're pretty ballin', but Joel's got the connections, so. Yeah, it's I have a I got a Markforged. Is it Markforged? I got a Markforged bottle opener somewhere. So. But yeah, Joel's got all the fun connections for that stuff. There we go. So this is on an Orange Pi actually. So I just kind of have to make sure everything works on this because, oh boy, tomorrow's video was totally fun to do. Holy shit. For those that are members of the, oh, calibrated bed mesh. Okay, default, calibrate. So for those that are members of the Only Benchies Yacht Club and got to watch me try and get a frame going, or an edit of the video going yesterday. Whew. So anyone here use DaVinci Resolve? Okay, I use DaVinci Resolve. I pay for it. I've got the studio version. I'm having an issue, and I think we figured it out. I think it's because of this setup specifically. But basically, when I try to render out a video, everything's fine in the timeline. So when I'm editing the video, the timeline, I can play through the whole timeline. Everything's good. But when I render it out, it's just every now and then, random screens would just go to black like that. And it would just be like I'd be talking, and then it would just do that for a second. And it would just be like that throughout the whole video that I rendered out. And I tried updating drivers, reinstalling DaVinci, tried Windows Update, full reinstall. I normally edit off a server. Like I keep all my data on an NAS, on an Unraid NAS, or whatever the hell Unraid is. And I pull data from that, so I have one central location for everything. So I pulled everything local, edited everything local, or tried to render it local, tried to output it local. I spent the entire afternoon fiddling with that. So here I am doing everything I can. I got a fucked up gantry on this. That's what's causing this. Either way, cool. Neat. Anyways, so that was yesterday. Eventually, DaVinci Resolve use Linux with AMD graphics. I run Windows 10 on my computer, and I'm not gonna go and create a separate partition on my computer just so I can edit on it. You missed my question, so I'll repeat it. What? Okay. I'm not into drones, but what about printing the propellers for it? Yeah, the toroidal. A million people have already printed toroidals. Not worth it. And the problem with printed props is, again, let me grab an example here. Here's my drone, okay? I'm flying around, okay? How many times do you think PETG props, or PLA props, would handle this being slammed into the ground at stupid speeds? I knocked my antenna off. The answer is not many. So, and here's the thing. Props are dirt cheap. You get like a 4-pack or an 8-pack for like $2, $3. So it makes 0 cents to print those props. And the toroidals are very situational. They're a little bit quieter, yes, but they're not really any better in actual real world use when it comes to FPV. So it's kind of like a, it's a shiny thing, but it's not a shiny thing that really actually impacts you're not going to be actually using them. Plus, you're not going to get as smooth airflow with a printed prop than an injection molded one, and it's not going to last as long. And it is. We come back to the whole it's a trade show thing, and it's a cool demo thing, but it's not actually practical in real world use. So. You could do it. I was tempted to print some just for just to do a video on it, but the weather's been super shit and I haven't flown in a month, so yeah, there's that. Higher mass, yeah, they're gonna be heavier too. So try that, see if I can fight the peaking there. The fan show showed how not spectacular they are. Yeah, they're the, oh my god, somebody did a toroidal, that's the cool thing, everyone's got to do it. And then because it's like oh, NASA, did you see NASA printed peak in a lull spot? Yeah, it's a paper from like a decade ago, and they basically rebuilt the entire printer in an oven using completely non-standard components. So it's cool. Is it practical? No, not at all. It makes no sense. It's a little bit quieter though, because you know FPV quadcopters are a little loud. So, are they good underwater? I don't know. I don't have anything that goes under the water. Hello, I am under the water. Please send help. Where is? I need a 3D model. We are going to print. Where's my models? Hey, Nero Cube. Yay. Eric, $10. Cheers. Okay, I can't remember what I was talking about before that though. Toroidals makes it sound like a Pokemon. What frame rate is the project into your clips match? Okay, so for the video tomorrow, it's 4K 60 because I always output everything. I output everything at 4K 30 normally. Because I do a lot of punch-ins and whatnot, so the extra bit rate. YouTube, the way YouTube works is when you upload something to YouTube, it allocates bandwidth based on its resolution and frame rate. So if you upload a video at 4K 30 to YouTube, and then you upload the same video at 4K or at 1080p 30, YouTube will give you more bandwidth for the 4K. So if somebody watching both videos at 1080p, the video that was uploaded at 4K will have a higher bit rate, because it was crushed less by YouTube's compression, okay? So, that's why I also stream at 1440p 60, even though this camera is 30 FPS. It allows me to have a higher bit rate. So the problem I ran into, here, I'll show you. This is, some engineer gifted a community membership, cheers. So, don't show my stream settings, but output. This is my stream settings right here. So NVENC H.264, because it's a GTX 1060, it's a video card in here. 18,000 kilobits per second, high quality, cool. When I record using the same settings, okay? So my recording settings are the same, okay, 25. And I don't know what happened, but those clips that I rendered out, which weren't even that big, like, we're talking like 5 or like 3 gigabytes of data altogether for raw footage before editing. They would just gunk up. I don't know what happened. I tried rendering it out at 1080p. I tried rendering it out at 480p. I would still get drop frames. I don't know. And here's the thing. I tried GPU encoding and I tried CPU encoding and it had the same issue. So I'm thinking it's like a bug with DaVinci, with like whatever this outputted, the footage from that I recorded on this computer yesterday just shit the bed. I don't know exactly why. Okay, so we got our V1.0. Let's print with the Prusa quality. Use that as a benchmark. And generic PLA. That works. So 60 on the bed, print settings, cooling, cool. Cool. Speed. Cool. What is this? New value, old value. Okay, whatever. Slice now. Now I tried 4K. Well, here's the thing. I don't record 4K on this. I recorded all the footage at 1440p because that's what I upload at. My recording settings the same settings as my stream settings. What is chill? We're just hanging out, man. Chillaxing, maxing, having a good time. But yeah, it was super weird. And you want to know how I ended up fixing it? And it is like the most caveman way of doing it. I eventually figured out I had the least amount of issues if I outputted it using CPU encoding at 25 frames per second. So I only rendered at 25 frames per second at H.264 instead of H.265 for whatever reason. And what I did was I rendered out the whole video because the audio was good. It would just drop the video. And then I watched the whole video. And then anytime the screen went to black, I went back into a copy of the project file and I cut out that one scene where it went to black during it, and then I deleted everything before and after. So there was like a half dozen scenes where it went to black from anywhere from 1 to 3 seconds. I cut out those individual scenes, the video, and then I re-rendered that out to like a 30-second video or whatever. And then I brought both videos into OBS or into DaVinci, and I went and I snipped out all the video that was cut out and I dropped in the good. So I basically like rendered it twice essentially. Yeah. So that's what I was doing till like 1 a.m. last night. That was super fun. Okay, you're loaded. Yeah, you're loaded. So that's what I ended up doing. That sucked. I gotta put a camera on this. I gotta make sure it works good with the camera. Do I have a camera? I've got a camera. Hi, this is a camera. Okay, so can you hot swap cameras on this? I don't know. I've never actually tried camera. Webcams. Add webcam. Cam. Maybe I gotta reboot it. Let me reboot it. Which one do I like? Polymaker. What's Clipper? I have a video on my channel that goes through all of that, but Clipper is basically a firmware / operating system for 3D printers that runs on a Raspberry Pi or other equivalent device that offloads all the thinking that your printer would normally do on your controller board to that device, which has a lot more power, and allows you to basically take machines that would normally not be able to go super fast and make them go super fast. And it also gives you cool stuff like for pressure advance, you get smooth pressure advance instead of linear pressure advance, which is a better form of pressure advance because you have more power behind the brains of it to handle that. And you also have things like input shaping using an accelerometer to actually measure the resonances of your printer and allow you to compensate for it. Also a nice clean web interface. Okay, maybe this camera just doesn't work. Do I have another camera? I'm like, this camera's probably in this bag for a reason. But I could have sworn I had more cameras. Camera. Are you in here? Camera. Camera. Okay, let me power cycle it again. I never used Crow's Nest. I don't know what it does. It just apparently it's good, so I installed it. Polymaker would be more accessible in Europe. Isn't it? Can't you use it in Europe? I'm pretty sure you can buy from their website, can't you? Okay, so what's Crow's Nest? Machine. Okay, well, that should be fine. No signal. Why aren't you getting a signal? Allows you to set up cams with Clipper won't auto set them up. Yeah, just getting no signal though. Yeah. Oh well. Streaming working, camera's not. Yeah, I don't know. It's an AverMedia camera. Like it should. I've used it before. I don't know. I'm not too concerned. Whatever. I really don't care. We're not going to spend an entire day trying to figure that out. Let's print a cube. Male, sailor, fluid, Y. Pick whichever colors you like more. They're both functionally near equivalent at this time. I got a V0 plus V. What's next? Trident or V2? Trident. Well, I already did I did a physical reset, so. I will say the Orange Pi 02 boots up pretty quickly, so. How are these coming along? Hey, everything fits on the bed, we're good. And I can give it that extra 5mm on the Y. That's good. I did power everything off in the printer. What is your favorite tool head for fast PLA printing when on a bed slinger? Like, what do you mean tool head? Like, that's gonna depend on the printer. No, the beacon scanner that's about to come out. I haven't tried it. I'm aware of its development. I've been aware of its development for a while. It seems really cool. Think it's the easiest way to describe it is an inductive probe that's really quick. Okay, so it's really quick, and it's an inductive probe, and apparently it's pretty accurate. But it suffers from the same downside as all inductive probes, which I'm not saying this is horrible, but you're measuring the metal. So on this printer, for example, I have a 1mm thick slab of PEI that's glued to the plate. So I would be measuring the plate, not the bed surface. So that's the downside of all probes that aren't like contact, basically. Although I think IR probes measure the surface. So any tool head will adapt. I like the stealth burner, but they're heavy and some people don't like that. What is your opinion on Rat Rig V Minion as a PLA PETG printer? Pretty good. I've got one. It's a solid little printer. If you're looking for like a little, if you've never built a printer before and you're looking for your like my first printer build, you can't really go wrong with that. No BL? I don't like BL Touch. BL Touch I found, I have a BL Touch. I have a legit one. I used one years ago. I had reliability issues and repeatability issues with it. So for this guy, the plan is I have, probably, this might be next weekend's video. I don't know. We'll see. I've got the APSU extruder, and I've got a mount for it. And we're going to be switching this over to a Volcano. So I'm going Volcano. I was originally going to do Revo, but then I realized this thing's 12 volt, and I don't have a 12 volt Revo. So I figured the easiest way to get this high flow with the hardware I have on hand is to just throw a Volcano in it and reuse the same heater, or see if I can find a bigger heater. But we've got a Volcano, an APSU. I gotta figure out a better part cooling fan instead of the 4020, but we'll figure something out. Euclid probe. Yeah, Euclid probes. The problem with the Euclid is that you got it's the probe itself is fine. Like I got clicky on here. The problem is then you have it's the complexity of it. It's you kind of have to the setup of it. Once it's in use, it's not too bad. But it's just like the whole macros thing you got to deal with. Get all that set up. But once it's set up, you're pretty much okay. Here's the thing. You ready? There is no best probe for 3D printing. All of them have pros and cons. You need to weigh the pros and cons for your particular use case and decide on your own which is the one you should use. Like all things in 3D printing. Yeah, tap is shit simple. It's literally just a switch in the tool head. Say what? I know! Planning to move from super slicer to Prusa slicer. I don't know. Maybe when Prusa slicer 2.6 is actually fully released, it's on an alpha. I'll export some of my super slicer profiles to it, but will I be going 50-15? I may. The problem is I'm not the greatest with CAD. CADing up a mount. Luckily, this actually had a mod for it back in the day for a V6 tool head. So I took the parts to mount a V6 on it. Where's the camera? I took the parts that would mount a V6 and I basically just added holes so that I could just kind of slap the APSU on top of it and call it a day. And then I put a hole for the thing. So literally I should be able to just kind of go blah, blah, boop. And we're good to go. F. Did I drop you guys? No. No. That's on YouTube's end. It's not on my end. I haven't dropped any frames on my end. So yeah. So the plan is to go high flow with the APSU here. Direct feed, because these extruders aren't exactly the best. Is that offset? Drop it down. So yeah, so that's the plan. So I got to figure out how to do that. The problem is I'd have to, I don't know if I have room for 50-15 in here. I'd have to change up a bunch of the mounting. for things. Ooh, that's way off. Let's drop that down again. Save, pause, cancel print. Yeah, that's way out. Try that again. What am I planning on this printer? We're going direct feed, high flow with better part cooling. But the plan is not to actually change any of the mechanicals of the printer. And the whole goal of this printer is to see how much printer you actually need to print fast. Because the Bamboo folks seem to think their machine is special, when hardware-wise it's not. So it's not a hardware issue, it's a software issue and a fan issue. So. How to fix a warped metal bed. You run a bed mesh or buy a new bed. Or put something on the bed that's flatter. Converts from CDN to USD. Sorry for it again. BBB to fix. It does the automatic. I'm Canadian. I think I have it set to display in Canadian because I'm Canadian, or it displays in American. I don't know. YouTube pays me in American, so I'm okay with that as a Canadian. So, hooray, Canadian dollar being bad. I make more money. A leaf blower on a print. Funny you should say that. Guess what the next step on this thing is? And guess what I have in the garage? Dweens, thank you for coming to member. And Tank Erden, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships, community memberships. Cheers. Speaking of Bamboo, I actually, because I didn't put it in the P1P because I think it's stupid and ridiculous and it's already loud enough, I have their big fuck off leaf blower right here. The problem is it uses a bloody 4-pin connection and it's 24 volts half amp. So I can't really drop it into the system easily, unfortunately. But I mean, a little bit of duct tape and just kind of hang it right there and we'd be good to go. What are we up to? It's a Friday, so just print and chill. Got a car in the garage. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drive around in the winter with this on my roof. That'll give me enough part cooling, right? Double-side sticky tape mount. Oh, we're better than that. We got zip ties. Also, by getting rid of the dual extruders, I can do the independent gantry trimming on this thing, so that would be nice. CPAP cooling options, I have. Which one is ground and which one is positive and send it. That is true. It's a 4-pin PWM. Oh, I know. F. Why are you saying F? I do know the probe on this isn't the most reliable. I really don't like the probe that this has. It's super, I don't like. I think we're better now. H, why are you guys spelling random things one word at a time? What time are we at anyways? I gotta end the stream at 1, so remind me. And also, don't forget to enter to win yourself some Polymaker filament because we give away a spool every stream. So there's a link in the description. Go fill out that little form and you can win some filament. L. Reminding me the stream needs to be done at 1. Morning, thank you for coming to member. See, this is how you get engagement, and it helps the YouTube metrics. So make sure you like that smash button too. Go like the smash button. The YouTube algorithm demands it. There's a new boss. YouTube has a new boss, so we gotta follow the rules. Who pinged me on? I'm pretty sure this is under extruding by a mile. Oh well. Let it do its thing. I really don't care. To support you with recurring membership, which is best platform? Patreon, YouTube, or something else? At the moment, I only have Patreon and YouTube. Patreon, I get a better cut of it, but YouTube makes things easier. Take of that what you will. Let's change the music up. Let's change the music. What do we got right now? What are we listening to? We got the EDM mix. Let's go to synthwave. And is that it's ramping up the fan. It's ramping up the fan. I'm pretty sure, does it clip? No. Yeah, Clipper ramp or Marlin or they ramp it up. They don't just go from like 0 to 100. It goes like incremental, and then at like layer 5 it's at 100%. What are we making? Oh, we're just printing a cube. I need to print something on here so that after I upgrade to the high flow hot end and a direct feed extruder and a better part cooling, we have something to compare. What drivers? DRV 8825s on a ramps 1.4. Sounds like a bamboo. It's quieter than a bamboo. I don't know what you're thinking about. That's quieter than a bamboo. Have I got into combat robotics? I have not. So the problem I have is with a lot of the hobbies that like would be cool to get into and whatnot, nobody around me does them. I live in Southern Ontario, like as south as you could go in Southern Ontario, okay? So either I have to go like all the way up north, or I have to cross over the border into the States. Let's go to like Detroit or something, so. Sounds like a little bit, I don't know, it's synthwave music from Spotify. Shouldn't be low bit rate. What time I'm in EST, my Fort Erie. No, I'm in Canada. And the input shaper, I do know I got to tune up the belts on here. The belts on here are kind of loose. I do know that. And I have to rerun input shaper. So that'll be done after I put the direct feed tool head on. Fort Erie. No, because that Fort Erie, isn't that, where's Fort Erie at? Ontario. Oh God, that's way north. That's like 3 hours north of me. Well, not straight north, but it's mostly east of me. Yeah, it's across from Buffalo. That's like Niagara Falls area. What printer is this? This is a Voron 1.0. And if you want to complain how it looks or how it performs, it is 6 years old. Actually older, no, 2016. It's like 7 years old now. It's Core XY. You got your A and B motors here. Boom boom. Yeah, this is Core XY. It's a classic. It's got a E3D Chimera, dual extruders over Bowden. E3D, love you guys to death. There's a reason you killed the Chimera. Do I have to do firmware printer for Clipper? You do have to flash your MCU with Clipper, yes. E3D Kraken. Oh God, the Kraken. So at the time, it was kind of an okay idea. There would be like, hey, we'll just put multiple nozzles on it and then we could print multicolor. But then you run into the huge issues of if you're running any sort of tramming or if you're bed mesh and your bed isn't perfectly flat, or both your nozzles aren't exactly perfectly on the same level, you're gonna run into issues where they're dragging, they're oozing, they just, like, even on this guy, I think I did like one multicolor print and then I promptly moved the other nozzle up out of the way and disabled it. And obviously once we switch it to a volcano, we won't have multiple nozzles on it. So. If I were to run a printer with a ramps board and TMC 22.9s, will the printer be good enough with 32-bit board like SKR Mini? If you're running Clipper, most likely. You probably will never notice any performance difference. I can move this printer with Clipper as fast as the Bamboo. It'll do the same speeds and feeds. Okay? The issue you may run into is support for other things. Like if you're using ramps, that's 12 volts. You'll have to mod your ramps to get 24 volts. You're going to be limited on your hookups. Like you only have so many fan hookups, so many hot end hookups. Like it's more the older boards are limiting in features versus performance if you're running Clipper. It's a feature versus instead of performance thing with Clipper. So. Do you not use the second set too high? Oh, I disabled it. I moved it up out of the way because the problem is if you have two exact nozzles and you have any warping, the other nozzle is just hitting on shit constantly and it's not hot to melt the plastic out of the way. And then if you are printing with two different nozzles, when you stop printing with the one, it'll ooze while you're printing with the other. There is no perfect way to do multi-material, and this was definitely not one of them. Or this was definitely not close to being perfect. But you can use multiple MCU boards. True, but then you're buying multiple MCU boards when you could just buy one modern board and have everything. That's the thing. Plus the newer boards are safer for the most part, and are just more creature comforts. Like if you have a machine with an old controller in it and you want to slap Clipper on it and send it, go for it. But if you're building from scratch, get a new board. You want to know what the best board to run Clipper on is? Buy a Duet. Do you think the tool change method is good? Tool change method, here's the thing. There's a lot of decent ways to do multi-material. None of them are perfect. They all have downsides. Tool changers. Big, heavy, expensive, complicated. But they're probably the best in terms of the least amount of waste and the cleanest prints. And you can actually do multi-material. So you could be printing with like a low temperature nozzle with a small diameter and then have another tool head printing high temperature materials with a fat nozzle at the same time. You can't do that with single nozzle setups. The problem with AMS setups like the Bamboo or the MMU or the ERCFA is you have the same nozzle. So all the material has to go through the same nozzle. So you have cross-contamination issues. You have issues if you're trying to print different temperature materials. And you have to purge. No matter how clean your pullout is, or Bamboo doesn't bother with that, they cut it off. You got to do a ton of purge. So, tuning start tomorrow. Any tips, tricks, extras you wish to buy before ERCFA? Follow the manual. Joe, thanks for the $4.99. Make sure you just follow the manual, set up everything default first, make sure everything's working before you start looking into stuff. To be honest, I haven't used my Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder a lot since I originally got it set up because I don't really do a lot of multi-material. Tool changer is fastest outside of IDEX. Yep. IDEX is probably the simplest, but you're limited to two. Tool changer is really good if you want to do multi-material. Like if you want to print those shoes, those fancy shoes that have like the PLA or the TPU soles with like PETG bottoms and then whatever material for like you can do that with tool changers. You can't really do that reliably with a multi-material setup. It really depends on what your use case is, okay? Like all things, it depends on your needs and your use case will determine what method is the best for you. If you're like me and you only do the odd random multi-material print every now and then, a setup like the AMS or the Enraged Rabbit carrot feeder might be the best option because it doesn't really affect how the machine performs normally, and it's an add-on you can add to a machine. Yeah. Have I seen the magnetic IDEX printer? No. The Yeezys. Yeah, if you want to make yourself some Yeezys. Well, Duet 2 or 3.5 Mini is the HC is a pain. I've never played with the HC. The only Duet boards I play with are the Duet 2s personally. Oop, no, that's not what I wanted to do. What happened to the Chameleon? Seems to have gone quiet. I have it on the Prusa Mini. It's just we did the stream where we installed it and everything, and then I haven't really needed it. Plus, I may cannibalize some stuff off that Mini for a potential project I'm mulling. But the Chameleon, if you want to talk about an awesome use case for it, do you have, how do you spell chameleon? Comma, 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 chameleon. There you go, 3D chameleon. I always spell chameleon wrong. Do you have a bamboo and you want to add 4-color multi-material to it that's cheaper and faster than the AMS? The Chameleon drops right on. So if you got a P1P and you want to add the AMS to it, or add a 4-color multi-material to it that's cheaper and faster than the AMS, the Chameleon bolts right into it. It actually handles, because it's only swapping filament, like retracting only to here, it saves you a ton of time versus having to retract filament all the way up into the AMS. FPV drone Voron printer. No. You've seen them at trade shows. Drones printing shit. Dumbest idea ever. Absolute dumbest idea ever, okay? The capacity for drones, like what drones can carry, is limited. Bigger drones can carry heavy shit, but they still can only carry so much. Battery life is limited. They can only fly for so long, so it's not like they can loiter. And they're not accurate enough, really, to lay down anything precise. It's a cool trade show thing. It will never be a practical thing. Why make it fly when you can just put it on the ground and make it build up? Or, you know, you can just do what normal people do and pay 5 guys to frame their house in a week, including put the roof on. Earthquake. What are you making in an earthquake? Are you building stuff in an earthquake? Metal printing is far too to build at home. When do you think we'll be able to build one? Long time. Metal printing, not only is it a pain in the butt to do at home, it's also usually toxic AF. Like if you're doing the laser sintering with like the fine particulate, you need like a whole setup for that, because if you breathe that in, hello mesothelioma. So did they hack the firmware for the bamboo? That's a good question. Would the Chameleon work on the Saval SV06? You know what? You know what? Look at that. It's a Wix commercial. Oh shit. We have a jam. It's not extruding. Shit. I don't know why. Every time I'm streaming, it takes forever to load up, but we have a jam on this. Pause. Stop. Oh my God. Okay, I had that extruder way too tight. Oopsie doodles. second here. Oh, there's a reason they don't make the Chimera anymore. Okay, I think we're good. Loosen that up a bit. Okay. Wow, that takes forever to heat up. Well, remember, this is a this is basically a Wade's extruder. This is a belted Wade's extruder, essentially. We even have the hob gear. Like, this is, it's old tech. Okay, extrude. Okay, so we are feeling filament and we're good there. Okay. Turn that off. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to retract 5 so it won't ooze. Okay, now let's try printing this again. Print. Printer's jamming out. I knew. Polycarbonate stuff's printing pretty good. Don't know that Studio allows you to add custom G code. What do you mean Studio? Bamboo? No, Bamboo's all locked down. You can't even get at a console in here. You know how annoying it is to move the bed up and down on this thing? Like right now my bed's in the middle. Hey, I want to move it all the way down. Okay, I'm going to move my bed down to the bottom. AMS, temperature axis, okay. Close that. You got to keep mashing the button. You can only move it in 10mm increments. Would you put a 3D chameleon on a... Okay, so here's the thing with multi-material. Purge. You have to put a purge tower somewhere. So, in theory, you kind of want the bigger printer to have multi-material because you're able to do more with it. Let that do that. Purge to infill. Purge to infill. Some people think that, I don't know why so many people think. The problem with purge to infill, it only works if you have enough infill. If you're printing, where's Bender? Where's Bender? Okay. Here's Bender. Okay, Bender here is a multi-material print. How you doing? Okay, there's Bender. See this layer right here? In that layer, we have purple, silver, gold, and green. Can you tell me how in a cross section that big with infill, if you're doing like 10% infill because it's just a cosmetic thing, how the hell are you purging that much filament to infill? Well, just print it solid. Well, then you're just back to doing a purge block. It's just an internal purge block instead of an external purge block. It depends on the model. And I've yet to really see, unless you're doing like 2 colors on a big model, a lot of the time you don't have enough room in the model to purge everything. Well, that print's gone. Dynamic sparse. Well, in that case, you're just moving the purge tower from a separate thing that you could throw out to just part of the model, which is still a waste of filament. Like that, you're not getting rid of the waste. You're just moving the waste from internally to externally, or externally to internally. Purge to another object. Yeah, that's like really the only thing. If you're printing like just something like a stand or something that doesn't matter what color, it kind of that would be about it. Yeah. Just print it in different colors and glue. Oh my God! That and painting. ERFA for endless spool. That's what I use my AMS for a lot of the time. I just load it up with the colors that I'm currently doing projects with, and then that way if I'm printing stuff, I can just send it from upstairs to downstairs, and I don't have to come down here and change the spool on the printer. It saves time. It's really nice. And the fact that it purges between the spools is actually really nice. Like don't get me wrong, for, you know, as much as I critique Bamboo, some of the shit they've done is really clever and really smart, and it's a very attractive price, okay? However, I think it could still be better because there's some things that they implemented that are like, why'd you do it that way? We don't do it that way around here, but okay. But it is what it is. I got no problem with Bamboo. It's the fanboys that annoy me. What is the magnetic IDEX? What is it called? Does it have a name? Like, is it just an IDEX that just docks the unused head with a magnet? If so, I've seen that's basically a tool changer with less steps. That's why the 2XC. I don't think Bamboo's going to be coming out with a new printer for a while, personally. Everything is tied up in their current printer because everything is custom. They need all new tooling to come out with a new printer. That's not cheap. And they came out with a new printer, and it was a stripped down, costed down version of their current printer. Like, I don't even view the P1P as a separate printer. It's the X1 Lite. So I think, like, they can't just make it bigger. It's not like they can't pull the Creality BS and just slap longer extrusions on the same machine and call it a bigger printer. They need all new tooling to make bigger frames for the printer because everything's custom. And they use rods. Rods don't scale big. There's a reason Prusa moved to rails on the XL, and there's a reason all the large custom DIY machines use rails and once you get big. So that old Vora, so it's got my brother in Christ, it's DRV 8825. We got some Soviet tractors moving around the tool head in this thing. And it's still quieter than the Bamboo. It's just clicky probe, dock, and unlock. Then why is it IDEX? IDEX is independent tool head extruders. No, rods. Like, they use rods, like 6mm or 8mm rods for the motion. These. Oh, it's too close. All right, well, it seems interesting, but it's... Yeah, if you're stowing and docking tool heads, then that's a tool changer. IDEX is independent dual extruders. I think that's what it stands for. There we go, that looks much better. I don't want to work, I got my Saval today. Go home on your break, set it up, get a print going, and then go back to work. What are we at? We're at 12:26. Okay, we got half an hour still, so make sure you enter for your chance to win some Polymaker filament. And then I gotta figure out, I gotta make the thumbnail for tomorrow's video after this. And then also my, where'd I put it? I should probably open this up, make sure it's actually in here. Yay, we're good, cool. My replacement hard drive came in, that one that died in my, okay, so Seagate certified product. Yeah, so they sent me an RMA one. Hey, you want to know how you got a good hard drive? When it's SATA AF. That's right, SATA as fuck. Yeah. So now I got to figure out what the hell I'm doing with my server, because my home server only has 4 SATA ports. So I don't think I can put that in it. And before you go, oh, we'll just put a drop-in card. The only ports I have left on it are PCI. Just PCI. There's no E, no Express 1, no, just PCI. So the Rick. Oh, just get the card. Oh, no, that's not gonna work. They sell PCI. Yeah, I know it's time to upgrade. So this is what happens when your home server was built using literally leftover shit you found in the house you bought. So it does have a Xeon X5450 in it, and I can pull it up here. So I don't think the dashboard on Unraid gives out any private information. You see my internal IP address, but that only, like, you see that anytime I connect to a printer. So let's see. So right now, this is my Unraid server. So it's running this motherboard, which is a whatever the hell that is. That's a consumer motherboard. This is a Xeon. It's an X5450. I pulled that out of a computer at work that we threw in the dumpster because it was just like beside the dumpster. I'm like, ooh, what's this? And I opened it up and there was like it was a Dell, and I was like, cool. I just took the CPU out of it because I was like, cool. Ended up finding out I could put it in here because this originally had an E8400. So I had to go on eBay and buy a little sticker that did a pin mod that allowed me to put the Xeon in this motherboard and then run a hacked BIOS, or install a hacked BIOS that allowed me to run the Xeon in this consumer level motherboard. We've got 8 gigabytes of DDR2 AliExpress special. And we do have a 1 gigabit Ethernet though, so that's good. No ISA slots. So the thing is, I've been using it for over a year and it's been fine. I had one drive die, but Seagate RMA'd it, so whoop-de-doo. But because I didn't want to run without a drive for like a week and a half, I bought a new drive. So now I have an extra drive. So it's been working fine for everything I need. It even runs Plex okay, because I put an old, what is it, Radeon 5770 in it, which is using up my one PCI Express slot. So it'll run Unraid just fine. But I want to start playing around with VMs and whatnot, and that is starting to get a little issue-y. So. And you're relying on this for my business. Exactly. Now, to be fair, I could still pretty much do everything. Like, it's Unraid. So if it dies, I can just pull the USB stick, pull the drives, put them in another computer, plug the USB stick, and off I go, right? It's Unraid. But let's be honest, the only thing I keep on here for the business is, oh shit, I have stuff on here that I do need to keep track of. Most of it is like the important stuff is backed up also on my main computer. But yeah, I don't know. It's good enough for what I'm doing. Dying raids and rebuilds and would have to send people home for the day after moving to, I don't know, building a legacy right now and have to orientate the bearings again that they are the right way. Yeah, double check your bearings are the right way. The chuggiest stream in a long time. That is entirely on YouTube's end. According to OBS here, and I could pull it up here if you don't believe me, we have dropped 0 frames on my end so far. And we are outputting at a solid 60 FPS, 18,000 kilobits per second. I'm barely touching my CPU because I use GPU encoding. So on my end, the stream is healthy. So if it's chugging, it's on your end. Or YouTube. They got there's a new person in charge of YouTube. So maybe when Susan left, everything went to shit. I do have an SSD. I have a 1 terabyte cache SSD in there. It's a Dell something. So I do have an SSD in there, so I can run that off cache. What's that? What is my business outside of streaming? The YouTube channel. So here's the thing, a bunch of people are like, yeah, Susan took the fast hamsters. Here's the thing, for as much as people shit on Susan, YouTube compared to pretty much every other social media site for content creators has done pretty much more. The ad revenue split is probably the best there is for any large site. You got creator programs, you get the plaques, you get engagement. Like I can ping up YouTube at any time and get help. For even a channel my size, I can get help like instantly pretty much. The guy who's taking over, he likes NFTs. He was one of the main reasons we got rid of the thumbs down button and a bunch of other shit. And he's now in charge. Who is Susan? The head of YouTube. She ran YouTube for 9 years. And fun fact, she also owned the garage that Google was founded in. Yeah, he's a crypto bro. I do not like crypto bros in the least. Anyone who promotes crypto, in my opinion, is a scammer and is trying to take your money one way or the other. I view all crypto, pretty much crypto, is a pump and dump, and anyone who promotes it is in it for the money. So anyone who does crypto is just no. I do no. People who knew they were being scamming other people's or were dumb enough to be scammed. Exactly. Exactly. So especially NFTs, like my brother, oh my God. Crypto, I can at least understand. Like Bitcoin, Bitcoin's still a scam, but at least it's a stable scam and everyone kind of knows about it. People who are into NFTs, oh my God. Oh my God, the NFTs, that's just like a whole other level of stupid. I didn't know any. The only big names I know from YouTube are Susan, because I pay attention to that kind of stuff because I'm a YouTuber, because that stuff does impact me. Do you delete your old input? No, it'll just overwrite it. When you run the input shaper tune, it ignores input shaper values. Yeah, the blockchain has a practical use. The problem is it's been used by people to scam people. So I knew a guy who made NFTs, paid a few dollars on Twitter to Strangle to promote, made a few G's, and ended up buying a motorcycle with it. Yep. Oh God, just go watch CoffeeZilla's YouTube channel. Just go watch CoffeeZilla's YouTube channel and like all the crypto scams he's pointed out over the years. like the logo, even the one right now where you just like paid some guy $5,000 to promote an NFT called Scams because he didn't even read anything. So everyone says the tech for like the blockchain tech actually has a purpose. Can somebody actually give me a legit, actual, in real use right now purpose for blockchain tech? Like I remember reading like contract signing could be used, like you could use it for contracts and whatnot. But is there actually a real world regular use for the blockchain that isn't scammy crypto NFT bullshit? See, yeah. The only thing I invest in are creating utility to help investors die. I just do what everyone does and just take my money and bury it in my backyard. Keeping the fossil fuel stream business. Intel cards AV1 encoding for media servers. Okay, here's the thing. There are a few things I would love to be able to just spend money on to try out. One of them is get an Intel card. For this computer for rendering, because I stream. So if I could stream an AV1, it'd be great. The problem is it's several $100s for a marginal increase versus the 1060 I have in there right now. So where do I live again? Southern Ontario, Canada. So it's kind of like it's like my main computer upstairs. It's got a 5770, yeah, or correction, a 5700 XT graphics card. I'm sure DaVinci works better with like a 3060 Ti. And I would love to put a 3060 Ti in there, but that's $500 that I'd rather not spend. If what I got is good enough, I have a really hard time spending. I mean, track to its final, and you know it's generated. Okay, are you kidding? But does anyone actually do that? Like, I've heard a whole bunch of hypotheticals of what the blockchain could be used for, but does anyone actually use it in a large-scale purpose in anything other than crypto and NFTs? Yeah, the knob fell off. The front did fall off, and I don't know where it went. Because remember how this printer kind of lived on the ground for a while? So I got to print a new one. A few companies are, okay. 1% TI. Sebastian, $5 cheers. No, what I have now works okay. It was like last night when I was having the issues with DaVinci, I was like ready to like rip the 5700 XT out and grab the 1060 out of here and put it up there. I was like this close to doing that. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not doing that. Is it possible to Boron Zero work on a UPS? Yeah, that'll run on a UPS. Like, see, I'm gonna do something really dumb right now, but I hope it's still plugged into the UPS. It's been a while since I've plugged stuff in, so it should be plugged into the UPS. But oh, that's resin. Ugh. Move the resin printer. Oh, what the hell have we got back here? Well, I got a Pay Mowing Wubby statue. Move you there. Okay, you ready? Is that the UPS? That's the UPS. Cool. That's on UPS right now. There's the plug. And if you don't believe me, that's the other thing that's plugged in over here. Now everything's rebooting. So yeah, you can like that gets. I did a video on it, but oh, the UPS I have muted, by the way. That's why you didn't hear it. Yeah, I have the UPS muted. Because if the power goes out on a 3D printer, it doesn't matter. Like, even if I know the power's out, I can't save it, right? So it either comes back or it doesn't. There's no point in yelling at me, so I muted it. with like something like a home server, it makes sense for it to yell at you, but I have it set that once my UPS hits a certain percentage, it shuts down the server automatically. Because Unraid has that ability, so it detects, like in my Unraid, it actually reads the UPS. My UPS is connected to my computer or the server, so it goes, oh shoot, at X% battery, automatically shut down the server safely. Printers will just go until it dies. So it does. If I'm standing here or if I'm upstairs, it doesn't matter. But you get like 10 to 15 minutes depending on how hot the bed is. On a, is it 1,000 or 1,500? It's a 1,500 VA. So, what are we at right now? We got 20 minutes left. Put it this way, if the prower is going to be out for more than 5 minutes, you weren't going to save the print anyways. Okay. So if like the problem with methods of power resume, like Prusa uses and whatnot, where you just, the printer just resumes, your motors automatically lock to the nearest full step. So you know how your printers use micro stepping? They'll jump to the nearest full step on power down, okay? And then also your gantry could potentially droop a little bit as well. And your part is stuck to the bed with heat. Well, if your bed's no longer hot, what are the odds that your printer will heat back up successfully and that part will stay fully attached to your bed when you resume? Also, your part may shrink or grow depending on if it's in like a heated chamber or whatnot. So you're always gonna get a seam. So my opinion, if you're that concerned about printing, like reliable printing, run a UPS, because most of the time if the power goes out, it's a flicker. And it's a lot better to just have the printer keep printing instead of it pause or turn off, turn back on right away, and then you're not there to reset it because you happen to be walking down the hall when the power flickered and the lights were off and you didn't realize the power flickered. So all night it sat there waiting for you to hit resume. UPS, it just don't care, it keeps printing. So as long as your power's out, not out for 5 to 10 minutes, your UPS is the best way in my opinion. How much did you spend on UPS? Whatever one's on sale at Costco. The bigger the better. And if it dies, because 3D printers do kind of put a decent use on them, Costco has a really good warranty. How old is this? This is from 2016. Like it's a new build. We built it this year, but the design and the kit, there are components in here from 2016. My UPS, I think it's a little over 2.5 years, 2 years, no. I gotta watch the video. I did a video on UPSs a while ago. I can't remember if it was this one or my previous one. I think it was this one. Because the previous one, oh no. This is the newer one. So it's like a year old, I think. Because the one I used to have in here is now in the server room, which is the hole under the stairs. The resume on Mark III has saved 2 prints. Are you kidding? It really depends on your use case. If you're printing like PLA, it's not a huge issue. But if you had like PTG or ABS on the bed or something like that, I print a lot of enclosed stuff hot. If that gets warm inside the chamber, I'm not resuming. Plus Vorons, you can't do print resume on a Voron because you can't rehome the Z. You can't retram the bed when there's prints on it. You can run 14 days on. Okay, well, I live in the burbs in a home, so I don't need that kind of longevity in a power outage situation. If my power is out for 14 days, that's some like end of the world shit. Yeah, power's out for 14 days. That's it. Give me gun. Time to put the leathers on, fuel up the V8, and go roam the wasteland. Should get a full sine wave UPS, such as the Cyber Power. Yeah, the sine wave ones are better. I have, oh man, I don't even know what I have right now. APC back UPS 1500. It's got a USB port on the front. It was on sale at Costco and it's been working fine so far. You didn't live through the ice storm in Quebec in '99. No, but I watched it on TV and I went, that sucks. But I got to live, well, it wasn't that, like it wasn't as long as the ice storm, but I was here, you know, the East Coast power outage, I was part of that. I was actually up on scaffolding painting in a gym when the power went out for that one. That was fun. How many? Oh, so in this room I only have one UPS, and it powers both Vorons. These two Vorons right here are the only two I have plugged into UPS, because these are usually the ones that I do the stuff I actually care about on. Like every now and then I'll print something big on the Trident or the Bamboo, but these are like the two workhorse printers I have, and they're the ones that get the UPS. And this is big enough to run both of them. Suburban California power almost ever. Don't you get brownouts all the time in California though? Because private companies screwed over your power grid. But let's be honest here. We can all laugh at the Texans. When it comes to power outages, we can all laugh at Texas. Hey, our power grid is fine now. Yeah, because it's not slightly cold out. Have you got a Revo in any of these printers? Yes, I do. That one has one, that one has one, that one has one, the one under there has one, and a few in the other rooms have them. Pretty much every build I've done this year, except for like one, has a Revo in it. That one has one. Yeah, I'm not so happy with the way how much our power costs have gone up for what we get, considering most of our power is hydro and nuclear, but at least it's reliable. I'm pleased with Revos. I like it. As long as you don't need high flow, Revo's fine. And like if you're putting it on any normal printer, Revo's just fine. Yeah, drawings at 1, because I got to end at 1. Nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear. Quebec sells so much hydro to the US. Well, yeah, because you guys have a ton of it. It's always funny talking to Americans when I say my hydro bill, because so much of the power in Ontario and Quebec is generated by hydroelectric that we refer to power bills as hydro bills. Like a lot of the power companies, like Hydro One, that's a power company. So you get your hydro bill, which is power, but it's mostly water generated, so we call it hydro bills. It's the Canadian thing. Hydro Quebec, exactly, because it's hydroelectric power. Or we just say hydro. My Ender 3 Neo looks to have TMC in standalone. Sounds like that's incompatible with Marlin's pressure advance. Is that same with Clipper? You could do pressure. Yeah, you could do pressure advance with 2209s with Clipper. I could do pressure advance. Pressure advance with Clipper doesn't matter on the stepper at all. You can't do pressure advance in Marlin with 2209s? What? Pressure advance is just telling the extruder how to behave. I've done PA on A4988s on Clipper. Standalone mode. Oh. Alright. Yeah, I'm pretty sure most of ours is Ontario power generation percentages. No, I don't want no stupid. Tell me, just tell me how much percentage of our power. Okay. Give me a chart. Give me a chart. This stupid clickbaity shit. Chart. There we go. Okay, so right now in Ontario, in 20. Okay, so as of 2020, where is the chart? Yeah. So nuclear is this much, gas is this much, hydro is this much, wind is that. So the majority of our power is clean. Because yes, nuclear power is clean. So the majority of power in Ontario is clean. And a good chunk of it's wind too. That's good to see. So I know my area, we have wind turbines everywhere out in the county. You should call it your nuclear bill like you get it from Gray. Yeah. So the problem is I can't really do solar. My house doesn't face in the right directions. We're kind of far north. I know Joel did solar and he's doing pretty good, and he's further north than me, I think. Or we're pretty close. But the problem is in Ontario, our government's, our provincial government, because in Canada, the provincial governments have a decent amount of power compared to the federal. So for those complaining like, oh, Canada sucks at healthcare. Yeah, healthcare in Canada is a lot of it's provincially controlled. And our current provincial government is poo-poo heads, and we'd have like no rebates for anything. So there's no rebates for solar, no rebates for electric, there's no rebates for any of that shit. They got rid of all of it. Wind, solar, and nuclear are pragmatic. Hobbit. My brother in Christ, like half of our power grid in Ontario is wind and what was the other one? And nuclear. Literally half of the power grid in Ontario is wind and nuclear, and it's perfectly fine. Actually, including solar, 1% solar. There we go. That should finish. Now in the UK, I have to pay for power with our youngest child. Oof. I just laugh at how like not bad of a winter Europe had after all the RU saber rattling about, you're gonna freeze over the winter, and then it was like, got no gas. And it's like, yeah, we got enough gas and it ain't that cold. Those are coming along pretty good. Yeah, water batteries. Water batteries are cool. You pump water uphill at night when you have extra power because stuff isn't being used, and during the day you let the water flow downhill and go through a turbine to generate extra power. And it's a water battery. It's really cool. Okay, are we gonna do the draw soon? We got 5 minutes to do the draw, so make sure you enter. If you have not entered yet, enter. Link in the description. Yeah, storage isn't really an issue anymore. And it's better to have like your majority of your power grid on something that's consistent and reliable, and then just have like little, oh no, we jammed again. Dang it. How did it jam again? Cancel print. I think I got good layer adhesion on that one. It was going so good too. Where is my spatula? Spatula, where'd you go? Who would have thought that an extruder design from like 7 years ago might have issues? I couldn't have thought that. Could you have thought that? Okay, it loosened it a bit more. That's hot. Let's try this again. Oh, the rat rig? I stood on it. I did it after stream. I was sitting on it while I was working on something. Or then I put it up here. Okay, we gotta do a giveaway. Giveaway. You like giveaways? I like giveaways. We got 3 minutes, so make sure you enter. 3 minutes. It's the extruder. The extruder is just chewing up the filament. It's a little too tight, I think. Where did I put that Allen key? So try again. It's a short stream. My wife's got to go to work, and the little guy has a day off school, so he's home right now. So I got to go upstairs and watch him while she gets ready, and then she's leaving. So, thoughts on salad fork for V02? Well, a salad fork is a lot more complicated and more expensive, and they do the same thing, but it's a fun build. The printers, the whole line of printer for ants, are not going to win any awards for being the most practical printers ever. But if you want to build them, build them. That's kind of my thinking on them. They are for people who like building printers and want a fun little project of building said printer. So, yeah. David is apparently 40. Everyone say happy birthday, David. I'm 35 next month. Fuck. You get a little larger area, but it's still for like, you can also build a V0 to 180. Like the design is okay up to 180 roughly. If you want to use a Prusa mini bed. What would I choose for a 180? Are you building one? If you're buying one like Prusa mini, but if you're building one, the V Minion's also 180 and it's a fun build. And it's well documented. Okay, we got like 1 minute to enter if you haven't entered yet. And then tomorrow we're gonna carry on with the V0 build. So tomorrow we'll carry on with the V0. And then Tuesday is the unboxing stream. We're not doing Rat Rig Tuesday next Tuesday. We're doing a Saval SV06 Plus unboxing. Because they're like, do you want to do a review on it? I'm like, no, I'll do an unboxing though. And they're like, okay, can you do it on this date? I'm like, okay. And then we may, if the stuff comes in the Saturday, we might take a break off the V0 as well. Next Saturday, if some stuff comes in for the Delta. If not, then we'll just continue with the V0. Copy everyone's names here. We got 500 something people. Make sure you like that smash button. I'm not saying liking the smash button increases your odds of winning, but I'm also not saying it does not help. So, uh-oh. There we go. Okay, my mouse kept going, so I copied a bunch of empty spaces. So if the empty spaces show up in here, we'll just re-roll. Yeah, well, we're just gonna go with that. Over the King Rune KP3S. It depends how much money you want to spend. The KP3S is a cool entry-level printer, but it is very much an entry-level printer. So, okay, somebody give me a number between, I don't want to count high, 1 and 2. Somebody give me a number between 1 and 2. Because I'm hungry, and I need to go make some food. And by make some food, eat some leftover pizza. 1 and 2. I'm giving you guys a big choice. 2. 1, 2. Round and round she goes. Where she stops, computer algorithm already knows. So the winner will get an email from me after the stream with a little form you got to fill out. Get your filament. A couple days to a couple weeks, depending on where you live in the world. Mulch. Much music. Congratulations, you've won yourself a spool of filament from Polymaker. So there we go. Special information. So there we have it. Cool. So just double check here. And I think we're good. We're good. We are good. Okay, so we're gonna call it there. Hopefully this finishes this time. If not, whatever. So if you are a member of the channel or a Patreon supporter, go check the Discord Only Benchy Yacht Club channel. Tomorrow's video is already up early. I'll put it in the community tabs and the Patreon page once I get the thumbnail made, which I hate doing thumbnails, but I gotta do them. Yay, YouTube algorithms. So yeah, so video tomorrow, stream next Tuesday. Still 11 a.m. start time for the next week too. For those that donated to the channel, became members of the channel, or gifted memberships to others, I thank you. I would not be able to do the things I do, create the content I create without your continued support. You make it all possible. Shout out to Polymaker for the spool of filament we gave away this stream and every stream. If you want to check them out and others that help support the channel, affiliate links in the description below. And if you want to help support the channel, consider becoming a channel member or a Patreon supporter. So we're gonna call it there. Nice little easy print and chill Friday. I gotta go figure out lunch for the little guy now. So I message you, I'll do thumbnail. Okay, Crystal, if you can have fun with that. I'll message you on Discord after. Okay, goodbye. Go wash your hands. Bye. Be safe out there.